Welcome to Canvas Projects, a virtual program offering from the Pflugerville Public Library. I'm Meg Miller, an Adult Services Librarian, here with another fun project geared to ages 12 and up for you to complete. Those who registered through the library calendar can pick up their material supply kits. And for everyone else watching, we hope you give these techniques a try. This month's project is a plastic bag butterfly. So let's get started with a look at the supplies being provided. So in our envelopes this month, we have our paint palette, paint pots here. We have a flat brush. I did include a mechanical pencil. It's not listed, but you're getting it. We have 3 of the fold-over sandwich bags and 1 9x12 canvas panel. About half of them will be wrapped in the plastic, so we'll have to remove that before getting started. For our paints this month, we have gotten a shuttle art box set of paints. So you've got the black and white, the orange, just an orange, a turquoise, a fun magenta, and then lemon yellow, bright for our hopefully heading into spring very soon. So if your canvas has the plastic on it, your first step is of course going to be to just remove your plastic so that you've got your canvas panel ready to start the project on. These sandwich bags are just plastic fold and close from our local HEB. I did include 3, but it's very likely you may only use 1, maybe 2, depending on how you want to make your butterflies. So that is going to be the first step for me, is figuring out my butterflies. So I want to tie a knot into my sandwich bag. One way would be to do kind of an accordion fold. So maybe about 1 inch, fold back over, and repeat the process until I get to the end of the bag. This just kind of gives me a little bit better of a tying surface. So I found that my ends I could make a little bit easier if I had it kind of closed up like that. So just once they're on my finger, I'm going to take one tail end through, trying to make sure that pulls through, using my thumb to kind of tuck through that knot, and not pulling just the sides, but pulling one side of the knot and the plastic, just so that I'm kind of hopefully getting about an even distribution of the plastic bag on either side of the knot. I think this side leaves a little bit more. And then once I feel pretty secure, I'm going to pull right on that center to make that knot a little smaller. And then I'll get to start opening the sides of my plastic bag, or my butterfly wings, as they will ultimately be. So we've got one wing there, come to this side and do another wing on this side. Just really getting right down there to kind of spread that apart so that I've got my kind of butterfly plastic bag ready to go. So there's kind of one option. Those are actually pretty close. This one might be a little bit slimmer than the other. Another tie, so this is going to give us a 2-wing butterfly. If I were to tie not kind of even, if I tied the knot a little lower, so that I've kind of got the 2 halves of one butterfly wing. So I've got my smaller wing here down at the bottom, the little base of a wing, and then the top piece here, almost getting it to like that side profile of the butterfly. I did kind of look a little bit better than this. So for my example, I didn't have one of these. So let's take our little 2-wing butterfly. We'll grab our pencil, and I'm just going to sketch my wings on first. I definitely, the first time I attempted this project, I just added paint directly to the plastic bag and stamped it down, just my colors. and then was going to let that dry and come back later to add kind of that black piece that will show our wings and the body of our butterfly. And I wasn't that happy with how that turned out. So the other way, and the way I'm going to show in the video here, is what I did is actually started with that black base, and I really loved how it kind of stamped out once I got the colors on there. So I'm giving a little bit of an extra around for our fiber artists or sewers, a bit of a seam allowance around our edges. I can do that with another one over here, and if I come off the edge of my canvas, that's totally fine. We can stamp that way. We'll do here, here. There. So there that butterfly is kind of flying off my canvas. Now you notice our butterfly bodies aren't there, so I have never proclaimed to be much of an artist, but I can sketch a smidge. So I'm just giving a butterfly body here in the middle. Very simple, just something, a rough sketch so that I can come back with my paintbrush. This pencil is all going to be covered over in my final project. Just kind of sketching a roundish head and our little antenna. That one's going to go off my canvas. This guy here, let's got them. So once we've got our sketch done, I am ready to go ahead and pull out my paints. So I've got my flat paintbrush, and I'm just going to start with that black color. And I am going to fill in this outline of my butterfly. And as I said a moment ago, you don't have to worry about those pencil sketch outlines because you should really be covering them with the black paint. And that pencil line is a guide. I really could add some extra interest. So give the top of this a bit of an extra little bump. Come down here, just kind of filling in. Some you may be able to see on the video. There will be, you'll see the canvas through a little bit as you're painting the black across. You can do a light coat, let it dry, and come back and get better coverage. But remember, you are going to be putting other color paint on top of this. So you really don't need to worry too much at this stage about the coverage of the black paint. There really will. It will blend in. You can add to it as you get farther along in the project. So we're just kind of giving it a good coverage of our butterflies. And I got to remember I added a little bit of interest here. And that was on the outside though. So I need to give a little bit of a curve there. And you don't have to worry too much about making it symmetrical, and that is part of your process. They will be a little bit different on each one, and each butterfly will be slightly different, which is great. Just pulling along that pencil and filling in my wings. Now, if you have done canvas projects with us before, or if you happen to have additional paintbrushes beyond what would have come in the kit when you picked it up, for some pieces like the center, you may want something other than the flat paintbrush. I mean, I can do a pretty good job following my line there and just light raising my paintbrush so that my painted line gets a little bit thinner, so that I'm not doing just a solid line all the way through. For the circular area of the head, I'm going to just put the edge of my paintbrush down and kind of make a little bit of a C, and then do the same going first to the left and then at the top and going a little bit of a C to the right. And then there I got my little butterfly. And later as this dries, I might come back and put a little face on him. So now I'm going to try and do a very thin edge. Sorry, realizing that the black paint on a black paintbrush is getting lost in the background of the black. So just really lightly drawing up this line, just the edge of the paintbrush to get that thinner antenna look painted on there. But as I said, if you've got like a detail brush or something small, you could come in with that and just paint that on a lot smoother than with the edge. A little bonus to the top. There we go. So, as with some of our projects, this will be a stage where you'll go ahead and set this aside, allow the black paint to dry, and come back in a little while for your next step. So, magic of video, I have pre-painted this one with just the black base. It's pretty much dry at this point. So I get my little plastic bag back out. Now, if you are a little concerned about getting paint on your hands and you have them, you may want to put some gloves on. If not, you may grab something like a paper towel or another piece of paper, and we can, let me slide this guy up a little bit, push our paints back, so that I've got my butterfly here, what will be my butterfly, because in the times I have tried this, have definitely gotten paints on my hands just about every time. So this is the side, and I can double check. Oh, see? This is the side I need. Make sure that my stamped butterfly is still going to fit within, and then I've got it on the right side. So I know that this butterfly piece I need to paint on this side, because each tie is going to be different, so each side is going to be slightly different. So I can go ahead and open my fun colors. That bright lemon yellow. I'm reusing the same strip of paint pots that I have been for this, so you'll see some in mine, like there's definitely a little orange in the top of my yellow, but that's all right. So I am not going to be too detailed. Let's see, let's get some of that magenta up here. And this is not a thin coat. I've got a fair amount on that brush. And I'm just making a line there. I'm going to come down to the bottom and drop a little pool of paint, a little pile of paint there. If I've got water, I can clean my brush in between. Just going to try and wipe it off a little bit with the paper towel and then go to the next color for purposes of this video. All right, so for the orange on the top, I'm going to do a little dollop. And then on the bottom, let's give it a line of that orange paint. All right. I am, to a certain degree, trying to kind of mirror the colors as I place them on the butterfly. But again, it doesn't have to be exacting. Let's do 2 yellows right above that orange. And actually 1 yellow down here by, oh, that's got a little bit of orange in it. And that's all right. There we go. All right, one last color. I'm going to do a big flare of this turquoise right here, kind of at the point of the 2 sides of what we think of as a butterfly wing. All right. There we go. Nice. And again, I'm not too worried about being exact with it going on either side. I just need that paint, and a little bit more than just laying the paint on, like a painting as I did with the black here. So now I'm ready to stamp. Oh, be very careful that it doesn't flip over for you too soon. Let's bring this guy down here. So I did leave myself kind of some area on the edge so I can grab it fairly easily without having my hands in the paint. But the flip over, I can use my little center. Come right here. All right, is this good and in frame? So I'm going to try and do one side at a time. Just kind of lay that down. Make sure my other side is kind of where I want it to be. And if you've ever done any painting with like the plastic wrap over top, it feels so fun. So that's kind of what you're doing. I'm just tapping where that paint is, spreading it around so that we get some nice coverage. And then I'm going to lift. And rather than lifting here, although if I did lift here, I would get the plastic as it pulled up this way would pull in the paint. So that may be a look you're going for. If you want more of a look where it's laying as you placed it, I'm going to start at one corner, whichever corner, and I'm going to peel up so that that paint really stays exactly where I stamped it. There we go. All right, and now I've got this color still. It pretty close to would stamp another one if I wanted an exacting. But let's come back in and get a little bit more. Where'd my brush go? There's my brush. Let's get a little bit more action going on here, and then we can see that look as it, if I pulled, excuse me, from the center rather than just one edge so that I get this stamped look. Will be a little bit more of a marble. I'm going to try and put paint, using up all of the paint I have, and get more on here. All right. If you've got previous canvas projects, paint strips around that you've done before, you may want to bring in some other colors other than what we've provided for this one. Let's get some more of that magenta down here on the corners. And on this top part. All right, one more there. Yes. Excellent. All right, we're just about there. Once we've done this part, once you stamped it, again, you're going to let it kind of set, let that paint dry so that we can come back in with some final touches. And that's going to mostly be the rest of the black and the white, although if you've got leftover colors, definitely try adding some detail with that. If you're a bit of a perfectionist and like this here, I see a lot of that black canvas from underneath, I can come back with some of this orange paint as it dries so that it gets more coverage, which may be what I'm going for. All right, let's put a little orange up here. Beautiful. All right, clean that off for a moment, pick it up. All right, so I'm gonna come here. Let's do the right side first. Oh, I kind of went down both sides. All right, again, smooshing the paint. This time I'm even trying to get a little bit more coverage, and if it goes in between, like the paints meet, that's not a problem for me. Okay, so now that my plastic bag is well and pushed down into the paint, I'm going to pull from the center. And actually, I'm going to kind of pull with the center there. There we go. Get a little bit of a drag of this plastic, almost like pouring paint. We've done some of those to get a little bit almost of a marbled effect. So you've got that there. So there are stamped butterflies. We can see on my original example here that I came back in and used some of that white paint to give a little bit more detail. If you were to try and do, you could do a bit of a delineation almost between two parts of the wing. The first time I stamped it, the bag went a little over, so there's actually some pink under there, but I used that white to kind of clean that up, so from a distance you really can't tell. Thank you for watching. As always, we would love to see what you make with your canvas project, and we look forward to next month.